Shavua Tov, everyone. Welcome to TillesTells Stories for Saturday night. The title of this week's video is Downloading from the Primary Source. I translated and adapted the story from the book Sipuri Hasidim by the great Rabbi Zevin and from Hasidic oral traditions. Once a man came to Anipoli to consult the holy Rebbe Zusya about a distressing dream that had recurred several nights in a row. With each repetition, the effect of the dream became more powerful, and now he was no longer able to sleep. In my dream, he tearfully told the Rebbe, my father, of blessed memory, who passed away a short time ago, may he rest in peace, appears to me and tells me I should go to the church and convert. Heaven forfend, God forbid. The first time or two I managed to ignore the dream, but he keeps coming back to me and now even threatens me with frightening consequences if I don't comply. Help me, Rebbe, I don't know what to do. Rebbe Zusya of Anipoli, who passed away in 1800 on the second day of the Jewish month of Shvat, which this year begins on this Monday night, is known and beloved to all as Rebbe Zusya, or even with the exalted title of the Rebbe Zusya. The seemingly unsophisticated but clearly inspired Zusya was a major disciple of the Maggid of Mezrich, successor to the Baal Shem Tov. He and his equally famous and inspired brother, Rabbi Elimelech of Lezhinsk, spent many years wandering in exile for mystical reasons. So, replied Rebbe Zusya to the dreamer after a few moments, this is what you must do. You have to arrange to dig up your father's grave. It must be there is a crucifix in it, or some other similar item of their religion. When the article of impurity is removed, your father will be able to have his eternal rest undisturbed, and you will no longer have these upsetting dreams. The Rebbe proved to be correct. When the grave was opened, they found in it a few coins with the sign of the cross engraved on them. Apparently, they had slipped out of the pocket of one of the non-Jewish grave diggers. This wondrous incident generated quite a stir. When word of it reached all the way to Vilna, someone related it to the world-famous Gaon, the genius of Vilna, the central leader of the opposition to the fledgling Hasidic movement. Rabbi Eliyahu Kramer, the Gaon of Vilna, who passed away in 1797, was one of the most prominent scholars in the Torah world of recent centuries. His erudition covered the entire field of Torah scholarship, as well as natural sciences and mathematics, on which he wrote, and in Torah he wrote some 70 works, not full books. Despite his extreme seclusion, his round-the-clock devotion to intensive study has become proverbial. He exerted a powerful influence on Jewish affairs at the time. His response to this report about Rebbe Zusya startled all those who were listening. He said that in truth, it was not such a wonder, as the similar cases discussed in the Jerusalem Talmud. What he did find amazing, however, was that one of these rabbis of this Hasidim should be familiar with such a scholarly source as this passage in the Talmud Yerushalmi. In general, the Jerusalem Talmud, compiled about 1700 years ago, is studied only by advanced scholars, because its terse style makes it so much more difficult to penetrate than the Babylonian Talmud, which was completed nearly 2 centuries later. Also, it is not as relevant to the final rendering of the law as its Babylonian successor. This cutting response of the Gaon eventually made its way back to Anipoli and the ears of Rebbe Zusya. He shook his head in amusement. Of course I did not see this passage in the Yerushalmi. What? Zusya can learn the Jerusalem Talmud, he said of himself deprecatingly. So how did you know this extraordinary answer then, questioned his listeners. Rebbe Zusya paused before replying. Then he said, No, those sages who gave the answer in the Yerushalmi. Where did they see it first? That's where I saw it too.